Okay, we are back. So this is the second half of chat number 149. Can y'all believe that? Next week will be 150. How is that even possible? But anyway, next week will be 150. This week is chat number 149. Oh, and Liz says it's 1 if by land and 2 if by sea. Okay. But this is chat number 149. We were talking about, and Lori, you just go to, I'm sorry, Gay, you just go to, on Connect, it is scrap and stamp too. Okay, so, okay, so I'm sorry, y'all are trying to teach me how to do sign language for T. Well, I know, I mean, that's it, the letter T. Okay, I'll circle back around to this. So now we're talking about Thanksgiving, about American Thanksgiving, and sorry, Canadians, we missed it. Your all's was last month, but you can use this for next time. This is not just applicable to Thanksgiving. It is, twinnings. Oh, anyway, okay. Is it twinings? Okay, I'll circle back around to it. Anyway, so this is not just for Thanksgiving. This is for every day. So we're going to talk about portions, and we're going to talk about ways to calculate a meal that you may or may not be in charge of. So probably the biggest hurdle, I guess, that I ever had with Thanksgiving is that I was normally not in charge of it. So in years past, we have had multiple Thanksgivings. So back when my parents were both healthy and living, but back when they were both healthy and living, we could have 3 to 4 Thanksgivings to go to in a couple of days. So we would have Thanksgiving with John's mom and dad. We would have Thanksgiving with just us. We would have Thanksgiving with my mom, and then Thanksgiving with just my dad. So, or some combination, you know, of that. So, in years past, it was a little bit more difficult to kind of manage it because I wasn't in control of any of it. So tonight what we're going to talk about is some ways that you can take control, even if you're not in control of the menu. The portion sizing, being aware of portions versus servings is extremely important, for Thanksgiving and or for any meal like this where you're not the person that's in charge. It's a little bit easier, I think, if it's at your house and you're in charge, because you can be super busy, doing everything and getting everybody else fed and making sure that they have everything that they need. And then you just, kind of melt there at the end and get your, plate. And by then everything looks icky and gross anyway, so you're probably not really interested in eating. But let's talk a little bit about how portions, serving sizes and portions, how they're going to play a part in your, in your menu. I'm not opposed to, now if it was at my house, I would have more control over this. I'm not opposed to taking something like this. You're going to take, if you're going somewhere for Thanksgiving, you're probably going to take a dish with you. Why not go ahead and take your WW serving spoons or your Live Liga? If you go ahead and go to kckitchencenter.com and order those, why not take those with you? Nobody's going to know. Like, this is very cleverly written on the back. The Live Liga are the same. They're the same way. And everybody that sees them goes, oh my gosh, those are so pretty. Nobody goes, oh my gosh, those are Weight Watchers. You're measuring your food. Nobody suspects that. Or like these that, that Karen got me. So pretty. I mean, they are so pretty, and nobody, even though they have the measurements inside of them, they are so pretty. I think people would think that you just brought them because they are so pretty, or we're going to talk about it in a second. Size up your plate. Like the size plates that they're using, go ahead and be thinking, using this, using your hands, go ahead and be thinking about what everything's going to look like on that plate. And I'm going to show you a completed plate, and y'all are going to laugh when you see it, but I'm going to show you a completed plate, when we get a little bit closer to the end. So in case you don't remember, your closed fist, this is approximately a cup. And if your fist is smaller than mine or larger than mine, then you probably need to be eating a little bit less or a little bit more. So it's okay for you to call that, approximately a cup. Doing approximately a cup is better than doing nothing at all. The tip of your finger, so just this much of your finger is approximately a teaspoon. So if you're trying to figure out how much a teaspoon of something is, just use this. The palm of your hand is like the palm of your hand or the size of a deck of cards. That is approximately 3 ounces of meat. Your cupped hand, and I never can figure out which way to turn that. Your cupped hand is approximately 1 to 2 ounces of meat. It's also approximately, you know, a half a cup of something measured. You know, if you wanted to think about some nuts maybe or something like that. Your thumb, just this portion, not all of it. This portion of your thumb is approximately an ounce of meat or cheese. So like if they've got little cheese cubes, you can kind of guess, you know, with this. Or your thumb, I'm sorry, that is approximately an ounce of meat or cheese. This portion though, just this portion of your thumb is approximately a tablespoon. So if you were trying to figure out, you know, how much a tablespoon of butter, which is a huge number of points on any plan, any color, is about this much. Okay, so I have calculated for you a traditional meal. So I'm actually going to have to stop looking at comments for a few minutes because I have to be able to use my phone for this, sadly. So I will come back as quickly as I can to answer questions, but I have to be able to use my phone for this. So I have calculated a traditional meal, and then I'm going to show you what you could use for some options. So let's just go to this traditional meal. And I hate that I'm not going to be able to see your all's comments live because I think there's going to be lots of gasping, you know, and moaning when I'm reading these off. So this is a traditional meal for us, you know, what we would have, you know, what we would have had in the past. Not sure this is probably not what we're having this year, but what we would have had in the past as a traditional meal. And I've calculated it for blue, green, and purple. And again, I really wish that I could see your all's comments while I'm reading this because I think some of y'all are going to croak. Okay, so I'm going to read what the menu item is, and then I'm going to do blue first, then green, then purple. And this is what I'm trying to get posted tomorrow on IfYouHaveAnEgg.com so that you all will have access to this, you know, pretty quickly. So the first item, you know, first menu item, turkey breast. So 3 ounces of turkey breast. And I know if you're cooking a big, you know, if somebody's cooking a big turkey, you know, there's going to be light meat and dark meat. Try to get, you know, the breast if you want to have some of the turkey. We're just going to do a turkey tenderloin. So it will just be all breast meat, but 3 ounces. Remember, 3 ounces is about the size of a deck of cards. It's the palm of your hand of turkey breast, no skin. On blue, it's 0. Green, it's 1. Purple, it's 0. Not bad, huh? 3 ounces of ham, still size of a deck of cards. And this is not if it has 6 inches of sugar coating. If you're from around here and you've got honey baked ham, might want to add a couple of points to that. But just 3 ounces of regular ham, size of a deck of cards, or the size of the palm of your hand. Blue is 3, green is 3, purple is 3. Dressing, a half of a cup of dressing. Okay, a half a cup is this much. That's a half of a cup. A half of this much, not this much. So a half a cup of dressing. I know some of y'all call it stuffing, and I really wish I could see your comments because I think there's going to be some big debate right now. But a half a cup of dressing. Blue is 6, green is 6, purple is 6. Doesn't change on that. A half a cup of macaroni and cheese. Again, it's this big. A half a cup of macaroni and cheese. Let's see, blue is 7, green is 7, purple is 7. A half a cup of mashed potatoes. Blue, and that's mashed potatoes. That is not loaded mashed potatoes like we're gonna make. That's not loaded mashed potatoes. That is not you know, heavy cream or, you know, something like that. It's just plain old mashed potatoes. Blue is 3, green is 3, purple is 1. Again, that's assuming you haven't put a whole bunch of extra stuff into them. Turkey gravy, 2 tablespoons of turkey gravy, 0, 0, 0. A half of a cup, but again, it's this big. A half of a cup of sweet potato casserole with pecans. This is where I wish I could see your all's faces, or faces, yeah, and I wish I could see your comments. And I will come back, I will turn my phone back on to that in just a second. Blue is 14, green is 14, purple is 11. Yikes, that's a lot of points. Okay, green bean casserole, a half a cup. 3, 3, and 3. Doesn't matter which plan you're on. Deviled eggs, 2 halves. So 2 halves of a deviled egg make 1 egg. We're talking about 2 halves of deviled eggs. Blue is 2, green is 5, purple is 2. A roll with butter, just like a restaurant style roll with butter. There's 6, 6, and 6. So it's 6 all the way across the board. Cranberry sauce out of a can. a quarter of a cup of canned cranberry sauce. That must be all sugar. 6 points across the board for a fourth of a cup. Yeah, no thank you. Pumpkin pie, an eighth of a pie. So if you have an 8 or 9 inch pie, an eighth of that pie is pumpkin is 14, blue, green, purple, and an eighth of a pecan pie is blue, blue, green, or purple is also 19. Okay, so I'm going to write these down real quick because I have a very important question for you, but I have to be able to see what you all are saying. So let me get back online with you. Let me switch back over here to being online with you all again real quick. Okay, so who's freaking out right now? Who is freaking out right now over that? So here's the important question I'm going to ask you. I have a couple of questions. Okay, so my first question is, who is tracking? So who is tracking this Thanksgiving? And you don't have to. You do not have to track. You can just say that that it's a day, and that you're just gonna have your one day and you're gonna move on. But who's gonna track? Okay, so Sandy's tracking. Lynn says it's just one meal. Lisa says Lisa's tracking. So if you'll really just keep it as one meal, then I'm not opposed to that. Angelia says she's tracking. Sherry's tracking. Okay, so and Joyce is giving me a thumbs up. So the people that are tracking, Trisha's tracking, the people that are tracking, how many points are you willing to spend on that one meal? Because I'm going to give you the total. Yeah, okay, so Haley says she's thinking 70 points for Thanksgiving. And Star's tracking, Mary's tracking. Okay, so I'm going to give you the bad news here in just a second. So of those that are tracking, how many points? How many points are you willing to spend? And remember, some of you are on blue, some are on green, and some are on purple. So how many points are you all willing to spend on that one meal? I'm going to give y'all just a second because I'm still getting a lot of maize. Rosie says I can't afford it. Remember, you get weeklies. You get between 7 and 42 weeklies, so hopefully none of us are the 7 people. And Laura has already tracked hers. Very good. Very good. Okay. But how many points? Okay, Brenda's willing to spend 21. Sandy says 25. Joyce says 40. Trish says 20. We're going to pass out when I tell you this. Joni says I'm going to exercise all week. Joni, we would have to walk everywhere we went all week long. Lisa says my weeklies plus 20, a total of 79. Okay. Rosie says 40-ish. Okay. So let me go back. Who was this? Lisa. Lisa is the closest. Okay. The blue, the traditional meal that I read off to you, the blue totaled up to 83 points. Yes, I understand that's if you ate both pieces. If you ate both pieces of pie. I get it. But even if you didn't eat both pieces of pie, that's only 14 points-ish off of that. So that's still like 70, almost 70 points. Okay, blue was 83. Green was 87. Purple was 78. Yeah, that's a lot. Okay, so after everybody gets their smelling salt, and comes back around, let's talk about what you can do. So let's talk about what you can do. First of all, not tracking is not an option. Well, I shouldn't say that. If you really will, just say it's one day. It's one meal. It's one meal. And Barbara says, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to heaven." Yeah, Star's going, "Oh." Sandy's doing all the emojis. Okay. If it's just one meal, then then just enjoy your Thanksgiving and move on. Then just enjoy it and move on. But there are other options. There are lots of other things that you can do. So before anybody completely passes out, there are lots of other things that you can do. So here are a couple of things. That you can do. Yes, you can save all of your weeklies. So if you're like me and you have 35 weeklies, so I get 30 daily points and 35 weeklies. So I have 65 points that I could use for that meal if I wanted to, and I could eat 0 for breakfast. Sandy said the same thing. 0 points for breakfast. So I could eat 0 for breakfast, and let's be honest, I probably am not going to want to have supper, after that. So if I spent the 65 points on there, then then I could, it could still be manageable and just not eat one of the pieces of pie. So you can use your weeklies if you want to. I personally never, ever dig into my activity points. But if it will help you to track, because I would please, I would rather you tracked, please. If you would track it, then you could use your exercise points, your activity points if you wanted to, just to see, like Teresa's running 8 miles tomorrow, weighs on Tuesday, then weights on Tuesday, then 4 miles the next day. She's probably going to have a lot of activity points. But just know that you're not going to be, unless you're doing something extreme like she is, you're not going to be able to out-exercise, what you're getting ready to eat. But if it'll help you to write it down, yeah, and Haley says you didn't even count the wine. This is true, Haley. But to please write it down. Please track it, no matter what, the good, the bad, the ugly. Please track it. Okay, so that's one thing. You do have weeklies, and if you need to, you can use your activity points. Okay, next thing, if you are not in control, of the meal, like at our family reunions, I do the 2 point per spoon method. So a spoonful is not this much. This is 1/4 of a cup, and it's a little, you'll see why this is kind of icky on the inside in a second. But anyway, this is 1/4 of a cup. This is not a spoonful. So if it's a spoonful, like it's a big bite, and I have no clue how to count it because, Aunt Ethel made it, and I have no idea what's in it, then I'll count it 2 points per spoonful, just if I do not know how to count it. So you can do that. You could do the 2 point, per spoonful method. Like I said before, you can always go last. If you go last, everything's going to be, unless it's family style, like you're sitting down, family style. But if you go last, everything's going to be dribbled through, dug in. It's all going to be, messy. So your portions are probably going to get, your portions or serving sizes are probably going to get smaller and smaller and smaller, because there may not be enough, of that left, or it may just be really gross by the time you get to it, gross and or cold. If you're eating out, please look it up before you go. Please do your best to look it up. Now, nowhere online, I don't think anywhere online, you're going to be able to look up, Thanksgiving dinner at Cracker Barrel, or Thanksgiving dinner at whatever, wherever it is that you're going, the steakhouse. I think we went to Ryan's Steakhouse one year when my grandmother was in the hospital. They don't have a great track record around holidays, but anyway, so if you're going to a restaurant, please attempt to look it up before you ever leave. And like a couple of y'all have said that you've already pre-tracked. Actually, extra bravo sticker for that, for pre-tracking, for knowing before you go, because there's no way that you want to go to the restaurant, especially if it's a buffet, that you want to go and you want to eat and then you want to try and figure it out later, because you still will have consumed the points and then you're just going to feel terrible about it. So even if you do 60, 70, 80, 90 points, even if you do that, even if you consume that much, you at least go into this meal knowing that, so that you can plan around it. Okay, so just don't let it be a surprise. Okay, and then let me go back and remind you of some things. So the traditional meal that we planned out just a few minutes ago, remember I kept holding up this spoon and going, oh my gosh, that's a whole lot of food. That is a whole lot of food. Okay, let me show you the Thanksgiving plate that I have, and Myra, that's exactly what we're going to do. Let me show you the Thanksgiving plate that I have created for you all. Okay, this is a regularly sized plate. So this is what size plate you should be eating off of. Okay, this is a regular size plate, and look, it's still a huge plate. This is almost a serving platter, but this is the size plate that most of us grab when we're doing Thanksgiving dinner. Okay, so if this were your food, if this were the food on your plate, and it's not even all touching, would you be okay with this? So do you think you would be okay with this volume of food if it was if they were all prettier colors, but would you be okay with this volume of food? Do you think? I mean, this is a huge plate, because remember, this is a normal plate, so it fits like inside of this. So this would be a huge plate of food. Do you think that you could be okay with this amount of food? Okay. The reason I'm asking you that is this is not even everything that's on the modified meal that I'm getting ready to go over. Okay. So 3 ounces of turkey breast. That's perfect. 3 ounces of turkey breast. So here is our 3 ounces of turkey breast, and it is the size of the palm of your hand, or about the size of a deck of cards. So this is 0 on blue, 1 on green, and 0 on purple. Okay, so there's your 3 ounces of turkey breast. I went ahead and left you 3 ounces of ham. And Lisa, I know. So yeah, so we're gonna give this to Alyssa to play with. Anyway, John had to help me open all these though. I couldn't get them all open. This is your ham. So here, yeah, see, and Teresa says I couldn't even eat that much. So stay with me. Here's your 3 ounces of ham, and remember, this is the size of the palm of your hand or the size of a deck of cards. So that's your 3 ounces of ham. And then instead of a half of a cup of dressing or stuffing, whichever one you're going to call it, here's a quarter of a cup. This is a quarter of a cup of dressing. So see how that's like swallowed in there? This is plenty. This is like 4 spoonfuls of dressing when you get ready to eat it. So there's your dressing. Then here is a quarter of a cup of macaroni and cheese. So again, it's just a smaller version. I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you the points. So the turkey is 0 on blue, 1 on green, 0 on purple, just like it was. The ham, I didn't change either, so it is 3, 3, and 3. The fourth of a cup of dressing or stuffing, that takes it to 3, 3, and 3. The quarter of a cup of macaroni and cheese, it takes it to 3, 3, and 3. Then you can still do a half a cup of mashed potatoes. So that would be like 2 of these. That would be all of that. So that would still be, for the mashed potatoes, for a half a cup, that would be 3 on blue, 3 on green, and 1 on purple. Then you could still have the 2 tablespoons of turkey gravy because that was 0, 0, and 0. There is a Weight Watchers sweet potato casserole recipe, and it's on the WW app. And if you go, it's on the WW app, and if you go to search food, it is the name of it is WW Sweet Potato Casserole with mini marshmallows and pecans, but significantly less pecans, but it does have pecans. 1 serving is down to, on blue, it's down to 4 from 14. It's down to 4. Green is 4 and purple is 2 because the sweet potatoes are 0 on there. But from 14 it goes to 4, 4, and 2. So that one's worth checking out, and that is on WW and it is on the app. Then my recipe, Church Lady green beans, you can have a half a cup of those, and they do have a piece of bacon. They are cooked with a piece of bacon. That recipe is already on www.IfYouHaveAnEgg.com, but a serving of that, which is a half of a cup of the Church Lady green beans with the piece of cooked with the piece of bacon, is 1 point on blue, 1 point on green, and 1 point on purple, down from that green bean casserole. And honestly, who likes green bean casserole anyway? I only ever hear people complain about it, and yet we are forced to eat it every year. Not this year. We're having Church Lady green beans. Then deviled eggs, leave them alone. Have 2 deviled egg halves. Still have your 2 deviled egg halves. And that is going to be 2 on blue, 5 on green, and 2 on purple. Then instead of the a quarter of a cup of cranberry sauce, of canned cranberry sauce, yeah, for all those points, for 14 points, you could make an air fryer baked apple and just stuff it, before you bake it, just stuff it with a few fresh cranberries. Cook it exactly the same amount. Again, that recipe is already on www.IfYouHaveAnEgg.com, and just search air fryer or baked apple. But when you core the apple, just stuff it with a couple, and that's on IfYouHaveAnEgg.com. Just stuff it with a couple of fresh cranberries, and then everything else is exactly the same. And apples and cranberries together are delicious. They are way better than canned cranberry sauce. But that is 0, 0, and 0. As long as you don't need to add any sugar to it, it is 0, 0, and 0. So those are really good, and that recipe is already posted. Roasted veggies, non-starchy roasted veggies. So that's what these are. These are to represent some non-starchy roasted veggies. So We have all of these. If you just roast those, roasting vegetables, absolutely delicious. So brings out the flavor in them, and those can be 0 points unless you add a lot of oil, which you don't need to. But that, that is 0 points. Then if you have Drizzle Me Skinny has a recipe, and just go to drizzlemeskinny.com. Oh, Joni's making roasted asparagus. Just go, and Sylvia's making roasted Brussels sprouts. Yum. So just go to drizzlemeskinny.com and search pumpkin pie squares. They look so yummy, and it's a little square. It's a little bit bigger. It's bigger than this, but it's a pumpkin square, and it almost just looks like I don't know, it just looks like a fluffy, square, moussey pineapple, something or the other. But those are 3 points. They're only 3 points. 3 on blue, 3 on green, 3 on purple. And then you can even have a cup the size of Green Mountain makes little apple cider K-cups, and a Green Mountain hot apple cider K-cup for 4 points to top off the whole meal. So I didn't even put everything on here. This is missing the half a cup of macaroni and cheese. This is missing the half a cup of Church Lady green beans. This is missing the sweet potato casserole. This is missing the air fryer baked apple. This isn't even all of the food that I had listed on this revised Thanksgiving menu. And we went from 83 points on blue. If you use this one, it's 26 points. Just 26 points on blue. We could all totally do that. Green, instead of 87 points, 30 points. So yeah, is that all my points for the day? Sure, but oh my gosh, it's this plus some, because I didn't even get everything on here because we ran out of Play-Doh. And we ran out of room on this huge saucer of a plate. And on purple, it was 78 points. The traditional meal was 78 points. On purple, this is 22 points. So all of this is 22, and you don't even have to eat all of it. You could leave some things off. You could do a quarter of a cup of the macaroni and cheese. You could use, you could do a little bit less of some other things. But do you see how easy that is? I mean, how easy it is to take some things and substitute them. And Liz, on the air fryer apple, you'll have to go to the blog. I mean, it's www.ifyouhaveanegg.com, and just search air fryer apple. But it is 260 degrees for 20 minutes. And it is super easy. I make those a lot in the morning, and I'll usually make about 3 or 4 of them, so I'll have them for a couple of days. But super easy. And I'll put it in 260 for 20 minutes, and I'll go get in the shower because it'll be done, by the time I get out. So, who would much rather have this plus some for 26, 30, or 22 as opposed to 83, 87, and 78? Yeah, that's just wacko. That's just crazy if you ask me. So, everybody make a plan. Use your hands. Use your hands to measure. Find you some cute cups, bowls, things like that, that you would love to eat things out of. Get your measuring spoons out, because remember, half the things I mentioned, it was a half of a cup. That's a huge amount of food. That's way too much food. Way too much. I mean, unless you're a big guy, that would have been like 2 of these plates. But remember, use your spoons, use your hands. If you want any of the Live Liga spoons, we do have them online, kckitchencenter.com, or we have them in the store if you happen to be in Knoxville. So, who's got a plan? Looks like everybody does. Yep. So, Barbara does, Teresa does, Sherry does, Claudie does. Claudie's got her little hand up. She's got her plan. Teresa's made her plan. And Dave and Gay, it's kckitchencenter.com. It's kckitchencenter.com. Okay, so everybody's getting a plan together. Carl's got a plan. You are most welcome, Kathy. Let's see if Dusty has any interest in talking to us. And Jackie, if you ate, Jackie, if you did this, before I go real quick, that's an excellent point. Jackie said, so I guess no seconds. If you got seconds, that would still only be, if you got this entire plate over again, that would still only be 52, 60, and 44. Still almost 20 points less than the traditional Thanksgiving meal. You could, even if you ate 2 plates of all of this. Okay, so let's see, Dusty. No, He's not feeling it today. Okay, so everybody have, nope, he's not feeling it. He's laying back down. So everybody have an amazing, let's see, Angelia says, will the kitchen, oh, maybe he's down. Will the Kitchen Center be open on Black Friday? We will not be open on Black Friday, but we will be there on Saturday. So Casey and I are actually going, oh no, hold on, somebody's air fryer quit. Liz's air fryer quit. We have a Simple Living Products air fryer, and we can talk about that later. But we will not, the Kitchen Center, KC Kitchen Center will not be open on Black Friday because Casey and I have to go do some of our, we have to do our shopping, but we will be open that Saturday. So that is actually Small Business Saturday. So if you're out and about in Knoxville, we would love to see you on Small Business Saturday, which is a week from yesterday. It's 2 days after Thanksgiving and a week from yesterday. Everybody have an awesome and amazing Thanksgiving. Don't forget to do your homework. Don't forget to eat your Play-Doh. And remember, you can have 2 plates of the Play-Doh for still almost 20 points less per color than the traditional meal. But everybody just make a plan, stick to your plan. It'll be okay. It's one day. It's just one day. And this will help us practice for Christmas. But everybody have an amazing week, and let me know if you have any questions. And if you're watching this on YouTube, that's youtube.com, search If You Have an Egg. If you're watching this later on YouTube, please watch the next video. And don't forget to subscribe and then hit that little bell so that you'll be notified when the next video comes up next week. And also, if you want to order one of our cute spread shirts, you can do it over here. But everybody, remember to shop Small Business Saturday. Even if you're not in our town, I hope you will shop local on Saturday. Have a great Thanksgiving, a safe Black Friday shopping, and shop local on Saturday. So good night, everybody. I'll see you next week. Good night.